Become mentally unbreakable. Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing that nothing can control you anymore. Not criticism, not rejection, not failure, not fear, not other people's opinions, not the mistakes you made yesterday. You still feel pain, but pain no longer stops you. You still experience fear, but fear no longer makes your decisions. You still face problems, but problems no longer convince you to quit. Because somewhere along the way, you became mentally unbreakable. And here's the truth. The strongest people aren't people who never struggle. They are people who have learned how to keep moving while they struggle. There will be moments when life tests everything inside you. You will lose people you thought would stay. You will work hard and still fail. You will make plans that don't work. You will have days when you don't feel motivated. You will look around and wonder why everyone else seems to be moving forward while you're standing still. And in those moments, you will have a choice. You can allow your circumstances to control your mind. Or you can train your mind to control your response to your circumstances. That is where mental strength begins. Because life doesn't always give you what you want. But you can decide who you become because of what life gives you. A weak mind says, "Why is this happening to me?" A stronger mind asks, "What can I learn from this?" A weak mind says, "I can't handle this." A stronger mind says, "This is difficult, but I can handle one step at a time." A weak mind says, "I failed." A stronger mind says, "I discovered what doesn't work. Now I'll try again differently." That difference may look small, but over years, it creates two completely different lives. So today, we're going to begin rebuilding your mind. Not into a mind that never feels pain, but into a mind that refuses to be permanently defeated by pain. Because becoming mentally unbreakable isn't about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming stronger than your temporary emotions. And by the end of this journey, I want you to understand something. You are capable of surviving more than you think. You are capable of starting again. You are capable of standing alone. You are capable of facing uncertainty. You are capable of becoming disciplined when motivation disappears. You are capable of getting back up. And most importantly, you are capable of becoming someone your old self wouldn't recognize. So take a deep breath. Forget everything that happened before this moment. Forget the people who doubted you. Forget the mistakes that embarrassed you. Forget the failures that made you question yourself. For the next few minutes, focus only on one thing. Building a mind that does not quit. Because your greatest transformation may begin the moment you stop asking life to become easier and start becoming stronger. This is your journey to becoming mentally unbreakable. Chapter 1. Stop running from discomfort. There is a version of you that wants an easy life. A life where everything goes according to plan. A life where nobody disappoints you. A life where success comes quickly. A life where you never feel rejected, embarrassed, lonely, confused, or afraid. But there is a problem. That version of you can never become mentally unbreakable. Because mental strength isn't built when everything is comfortable. It is built when you are uncomfortable, and you choose to continue. Think about a muscle. If you never challenge it, it doesn't become stronger. Your mind works in a similar way. Every difficult situation can become a training ground. Every rejection can teach resilience. Every failure can teach patience. Every difficult conversation can teach courage. Every delayed opportunity can teach discipline. Every lonely season can teach you how to stand without depending on constant approval from others. But most people run from discomfort. The moment something becomes difficult, they quit. The moment someone criticizes them, they become defensive. The moment progress becomes slow, they lose motivation. The moment they experience failure, they decide they're not capable. And slowly, they train their brain to believe, when things become difficult, I should escape. But you are going to train yourself differently. When discomfort arrives, don't immediately run. Pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, what is this moment trying to teach me? Imagine a young man named Daniel. Daniel wanted to become successful. He watched motivational videos. He created goals. He bought books. He told his friends about his plans. But whenever the work became uncomfortable, he stopped. When he didn't see results after 2 weeks, he quit. When someone criticized his work, he abandoned the project. When he experienced failure, he started something completely different. Daniel thought he had a motivation problem. But his real problem was deeper. He had never trained himself to tolerate discomfort. Then one day, he made a simple decision. He would finish what he started. Not because he suddenly became motivated. Not because the work became easier. But because he wanted to prove to himself that discomfort didn't control him. The first week was difficult. The second week was worse. There were days when he wanted to stop. But he continued. And something unexpected happened. The project didn't just improve. Daniel improved. His confidence changed. Not because everything worked, but because he discovered that he could experience difficulty without immediately escaping it. That is a powerful realization. Sometimes the confidence you're looking for doesn't come from achieving something. Sometimes it comes from surviving something difficult. You begin telling yourself, I've been through hard days before. I've failed before and recovered. I've been rejected before and continued. I've felt afraid before and still acted. And every time you survive discomfort, you build evidence that you are stronger than you thought. So start small. Take the cold shower. Finish the workout when you're tired. Study when you don't feel like studying. Work on your goal when nobody is watching. Have the difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Say no when saying yes would betray your priorities. Put your phone away when your mind wants endless entertainment. Wake up when your alarm rings. Do the thing you promised yourself you would do. These may look like small victories, but they are not small. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen your identity. You tell your mind, my feelings don't control my decisions. And that is one of the foundations of mental strength. Remember this. You don't need to enjoy discomfort. You simply need to stop being afraid of it. Pain is temporary. Embarrassment is temporary. Failure is temporary. Fear is temporary. But the strength you develop by facing these things can stay with you for the rest of your life. So the next time life becomes uncomfortable, don't immediately ask, how do I escape this? Ask, how can I become stronger because of this? Because sometimes the obstacle isn't blocking your path. Sometimes the obstacle is building you for the path ahead. And there is something even more important you need to understand. You can learn to tolerate discomfort. But if you cannot control your emotions, discomfort will still control your decisions. So in the next chapter, we're going deeper. We're going to talk about one of the greatest battles you will ever fight. The battle between your emotions and your decisions. Because a mentally unbreakable person doesn't eliminate emotions. They learn how to lead themselves even when their emotions are screaming for them to quit. Keep watching. Your mind is about to become stronger. Chapter 2, Master Your Emotions. There will be moments when your emotions tell you to do something that your future self will regret. Your anger will tell you to respond immediately. Your fear will tell you to walk away. Your insecurity will tell you that you're not good enough. Your sadness will tell you that nothing will ever change. Your frustration will tell you to quit. But here's the truth. You are not every thought that enters your mind. And you are not every emotion that passes through your body. An emotion is a signal. It is not always an instruction. This distinction can change your life. Imagine someone sends you a message that deeply offends you. You read it. Your heart starts beating faster. Your mind immediately creates a response. I'm going to tell this person exactly what I think. You type the message. Your anger feels justified. But then you pause. You put the phone down. You breathe. You wait. An hour later, you read the message again. Suddenly, you realize something. You are about to make a permanent decision based on a temporary emotion. That pause is strength. Mental strength doesn't mean you never get angry. It means anger doesn't automatically control your behavior. It doesn't mean you never become afraid. It means fear doesn't automatically decide your future. It doesn't mean you never feel discouraged. It means discouragement doesn't get the final word. This is one of the greatest skills you can develop. The ability to create space between what you feel and what you do. Because between the emotion and the action, there is a moment. And inside that moment is your power. Think about a professional athlete. Imagine the final seconds of a championship game. The crowd is screaming. The pressure is enormous. Everyone is watching. The athlete feels fear. But they don't stop. They breathe. They focus. They execute. Why? Because training has taught them not to allow pressure to control their actions. You can train your mind the same way. You can learn to pause. You can learn to breathe. You can learn to observe your thoughts without immediately obeying them. You can learn to say, "I'm angry right now, so I shouldn't make this decision yet. I'm afraid right now, but fear doesn't mean I should stop. I'm discouraged right now, but discouragement doesn't mean my goal is impossible. I feel like quitting right now, but I don't have to quit." That is emotional discipline. And emotional discipline is one of the foundations of an unbreakable mind. Let's imagine another story. There was a young woman named Sarah who constantly reacted to everything. If someone criticized her, she argued. If someone ignored her, she became angry. If something went wrong, she blamed someone. If her plans failed, she lost control. She believed other people were ruining her peace. But eventually she discovered something uncomfortable. She had given other people control over her emotions. Someone could say 5 words and control her entire day. Someone could ignore her and destroy her confidence. Someone could disagree with her and make her angry for hours. She realized she was handing the keys to her mind to everyone around her. So she began practicing something simple. Before responding, she paused. Before reacting, she breathed. Before believing a negative thought, she questioned it. Before making a major decision while emotional, she waited. At first, it felt unnatural. But slowly she changed. People still criticized her. Problems still happened. Disappointments still came. But something was different. She stopped giving every external event permission to control her internal world. That is freedom. You cannot control everything that happens around you. But you can train yourself to control your response. Someone may reject you. You can choose dignity. Someone may insult you. You can choose silence. Someone may underestimate you. You can choose to keep working. You may fail. You can choose to learn. You may lose something important. You can choose to rebuild. You may feel afraid. You can choose to move forward anyway. That is what mentally strong people understand. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is refusing to let fear make every decision. So today, begin practicing the pause. When something triggers you, don't immediately react. Take one breath, then another. Ask, what response will make me proud tomorrow? Not, what do I feel like doing right now? But, what is the strongest thing I can do right now? Those are 2 very different questions. Your emotions deserve to be heard. But they don't always deserve to be obeyed. You can feel angry and remain calm. You can feel afraid and still act. You can feel sad and still continue. You can feel tired and still do what matters. You can feel uncertain and still take the next step. This is how you become dangerous to your own limitations. Because once you stop allowing temporary emotions to control permanent decisions, you become much harder to defeat. And remember, you don't have to win every emotional battle instantly. Sometimes strength simply means refusing to make things worse. Don't send the message. Don't make the impulsive decision. Don't quit the dream. Don't destroy the relationship. Don't give up on yourself. Pause. Breathe. Think. Then choose. Because your strongest version isn't the version that never feels anything. It's the version that feels everything, and still chooses wisely. But emotional control is only one part of becoming mentally unbreakable. There is another enemy that quietly destroys people every day. It doesn't always look like fear. It often looks like comfort. It whispers, "You can do it tomorrow. You deserve to rest. Just one more episode. You don't feel motivated today." And if you listen long enough, weeks become months. And months become years. In the next chapter, we're going to confront that enemy. Discipline. Because when motivation disappears, discipline is what keeps you moving. And if you master it, you will discover that you don't need to feel ready to take action. You simply need to decide. Chapter 3. Do what must be done. There is a version of you that only works when you feel motivated. When you feel inspired, you work. When you're excited, you take action. When everything is going well, you stay disciplined. But what happens when the excitement disappears? What happens when you wake up tired? What happens when nobody encourages you? What happens when the results aren't coming? What happens when the goal feels far away? That is where most people stop. And that is exactly where mental strength begins. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. Motivation is powerful. But motivation is temporary. Discipline is different. Discipline says, "I don't feel like it, but I'm doing it anyway. I'm tired, but I'll take one more step. Nobody is watching, but I'll keep my promise. The results haven't appeared yet, but I'll continue." That mindset can completely transform your life. Imagine two people who want to become successful. Both have the same dream. Both have access to information. Both have opportunities. Both start with excitement. The first person works only when motivated. Some days they work for 5 hours. Other days, nothing happens. The second person creates a routine. They work even when they're tired. They study even when they're bored. They practice even when progress is slow. They keep showing up. After 1 month, the difference is small. After 1 year, the difference is enormous. After 5 years, their lives may look completely different. Not because one person was magically more talented, but because one person learned how to keep promises to themselves. That is what discipline really is. It's not punishment. It's self-respect. Every time you tell yourself you're going to do something and then refuse to do it, you teach your brain that your own words don't matter. But every time you make a promise and keep it, something changes. You build trust with yourself. You begin thinking, "If I say I'll do it, I'll do it." That confidence is powerful. Because real confidence isn't always created by positive thinking. Sometimes confidence comes from evidence. Evidence that you can rely on yourself. Think about someone who decides to exercise every morning. The first morning is difficult. The second morning is difficult. The third morning is difficult. Then one morning the alarm rings. They don't feel motivated. But they get up anyway. That moment matters. Not because the workout will immediately transform their body, but because they're transforming their identity. They're becoming someone who does what they said they would do. And that identity becomes stronger with repetition. This is why you should stop waiting to feel motivated. Action creates motivation more often than motivation creates action. You don't always need to feel ready. You need to start. You don't need to feel confident. You need to take the first step. You don't need to know exactly how everything will work out. You need to begin. Because once you move, your mind often follows. Let's make this practical. Choose one promise. Just one. Maybe you will study for 30 minutes every day. Maybe you'll work on your business. Maybe you'll exercise. Maybe you'll read 10 pages. Maybe you'll spend less time scrolling. Maybe you'll wake up at a consistent time. Whatever it is, make the promise small enough that you can actually keep it. Then keep it. Not for 1 day. Not for 3 days. Keep it long enough for your mind to understand. This is who I am now. And when you fail, and you probably will fail sometimes, don't turn one bad day into a bad month. If you miss 1 day, return the next day. If you fall, get back up. If you break the routine, rebuild it. Mental strength isn't perfection. Mental strength is recovery. Imagine a boxer preparing for a major fight. He doesn't train because every training session feels good. Some days his body hurts. Some days he is exhausted. Some days he doesn't want to continue. But he understands something. The purpose of training isn't to make every day comfortable. The purpose is to prepare him for the day when comfort disappears. Your daily discipline works the same way. You're not just preparing for good days. You're preparing for difficult days. You're building a mind that can say, even when life becomes difficult, I know how to keep moving. That is the kind of person you want to become. Someone who doesn't need applause. Someone who doesn't need perfect conditions. Someone who doesn't need constant motivation. Someone who can work quietly. Someone who can wait. Someone who can stay committed. Someone who can continue when the results are invisible. Because one of the greatest tests of discipline is continuing when nobody can see the progress. There will be seasons when you work and nothing seems to happen. You study, but the exam is still difficult. You build, but nobody notices. You exercise, but your body doesn't change immediately. You save money, but your bank account still looks small. You create content, but the views don't come. You keep improving, but nobody congratulates you. This is where many people quit. They mistake slow progress for no progress. But remember, a seed doesn't look like a tree while it's growing underground. Just because you can't see the transformation doesn't mean transformation isn't happening. So keep going. Keep learning. Keep practicing. Keep building. Keep showing up. Your future self is being created by what you repeatedly do today. And here's something you need to understand. You don't become mentally unbreakable by making one heroic decision. You become mentally unbreakable through thousands of small decisions. Getting up when you don't want to. Doing the work. Keeping your word. Controlling your reactions. Choosing long-term rewards over short-term pleasure. Returning after failure. Starting again. Again. And again. Until discipline stops feeling like something you're forcing. And starts becoming part of who you are. So from today forward, stop asking, do I feel like doing this? Ask, does this need to be done? If the answer is yes, do it. Even if you're tired. Even if you're afraid. Even if you're bored. Even if nobody is watching. Because every time you do what must be done, you're sending a message to your mind. I am in control. And that message becomes stronger every single day. But there is still something that can destroy even a disciplined person. It's the voice inside your head. The voice that tells you, you're not good enough. You'll never succeed. Other people are better than you. You've already failed too many times. What's the point of trying again? In the next chapter, we're going to confront that voice. We're going to learn how to change the way you speak to yourself. Because the way you talk to yourself eventually becomes the way you live. And once you learn to control that inner voice, you will begin to discover a strength that has been inside you all along. Keep watching. The next chapter may change the way you see yourself forever. Chapter 4. Control the voice in your head. There is a voice you hear every single day. Nobody else can hear it. But you can. It speaks when you fail. It speaks when you compare yourself to someone else. It speaks when you make a mistake. It speaks when you look in the mirror. And sometimes, that voice becomes your greatest enemy. You can survive criticism from other people. But when you begin criticizing yourself constantly, there is nowhere to escape. You carry that voice everywhere. Into your bedroom. Into your workplace. Into your relationships. Into your dreams. And if you don't learn to control it, you may eventually believe things about yourself that were never true. Think about someone who fails an important exam. The failure itself is painful. But then the mind begins talking. I'm stupid. I'll never succeed. Everyone is better than me. Maybe I shouldn't even try anymore. Notice what happened. The person didn't just experience a failure. They turned the failure into an identity. I failed became, I am a failure. Those are completely different statements. One describes an event. The other attacks your identity. And mentally strong people learn to separate the two. You can fail without becoming a failure. You can make a mistake without becoming a mistake. You can lose without becoming a loser. You can struggle without becoming weak. You can fall behind without being finished. Your current situation is not your final identity. Remember that. Because sometimes your greatest battle isn't against the world. It's against the story you've been telling yourself about the world, and about yourself. Imagine a young man named Michael. Michael wanted to start a business. He spent months preparing. He finally launched. And almost nobody bought anything. He felt embarrassed. He began thinking, maybe I'm not talented. Maybe I'm not meant for this. Other people are naturally better than me. He was about to quit. Then someone asked him a simple question. What if this failure isn't proof that you can't succeed? What if it's information showing you what you need to improve? That question changed his perspective. Instead of saying, I'm terrible at business, he began saying, my first attempt didn't work. Instead of, I'm not capable, he said, I need to learn more. Instead of, I'll never succeed, he said, I haven't succeeded yet. That one word matters. Yet. I can't do this becomes, I can't do this yet. I don't understand this becomes, I don't understand this yet. I'm not disciplined becomes, I'm developing discipline. I'm not successful becomes, I'm building success. You are giving your brain a different instruction. And your brain listens to the language you repeatedly use. So pay attention to what you say to yourself. Because your mind is always learning. If you constantly tell yourself that you're weak, your mind begins looking for evidence. If you constantly tell yourself that you're incapable, your mind begins noticing every failure. If you constantly tell yourself that you'll never succeed, you may eventually stop trying. But when you train yourself to think differently, something changes. Instead of asking, why am I so bad at this? Ask, what can I improve? Instead of, why does everything happen to me? Ask, what can I control right now? Instead of, what if I fail? Ask, what will I learn if I fail? Instead of, what will people think? Ask, what kind of person do I want to become? These questions shift your mind from helplessness to responsibility. And responsibility is powerful. Because once you realize that you can influence your response, you stop seeing yourself as completely powerless. You may not control the economy. You may not control other people's opinions. You may not control whether someone rejects you. You may not control every circumstance. But you can control your preparation. You can control your effort. You can control your response. You can control what you learn. You can control whether you try again. And that is where your power lives. Now let's go deeper. One of the most dangerous things you can do is compare your beginning to someone else's middle. You see someone's success. You see their money. You see their body. You see their relationships. You see their achievements. But you don't see their years of struggle. You don't see the failures. You don't see the sacrifices. You don't see the nights they wanted to quit. You see the result, not the process. And then you look at your own unfinished journey and conclude, I'm behind. But behind whom? Life is not one giant race where everyone must reach the same destination at the same time. Your journey is yours. Your timeline is yours. Your lessons are yours. Stop allowing someone else's chapter 10 to make you hate your chapter 3. You are still becoming, and becoming takes time. So when your mind says, you're behind, answer, I'm still building. When it says, you're not good enough, answer, I'm improving. When it says, you failed, answer, I'm learning. When it says, you should quit, answer, not yet. This isn't pretending that everything is perfect. It's choosing a more useful interpretation. And sometimes, that's all you need to keep moving. Now take a moment. Close your eyes if you're comfortable. Take a slow breath and imagine the strongest version of yourself. Not perfect, not emotionless, not someone who never fails. Imagine someone who falls and gets back up. Someone who gets rejected and keeps their dignity. Someone who experiences fear and still takes action. Someone who makes mistakes and learns. Someone who loses and rebuilds. Someone who doesn't need everyone to believe in them because they have learned to believe in themselves. Now ask yourself, what would that version of me say to me right now? Maybe the answer is, keep going. You're closer than you think. Don't give up. You can learn this. You can rebuild. This moment isn't your entire story. Listen to that voice. Because eventually, the voice you repeatedly listen to becomes the voice you live by. So make your inner voice an ally. Speak to yourself with honesty. Speak to yourself with discipline. Speak to yourself with courage. Don't lie to yourself. Don't pretend failure doesn't hurt. Don't pretend fear doesn't exist. Instead, tell yourself the truth. This is difficult. Then add, but I can handle the next step. That is strength. And when you repeatedly practice this, something incredible begins to happen. Your circumstances may not immediately change, but your interpretation of them changes. And when your interpretation changes, your response changes. And when your response changes, your life begins to change. But there is another level of mental strength we haven't reached yet. Because even if you control your emotions, even if you develop discipline, even if you improve your self-talk, there will still be moments when life takes something from you. A relationship, an opportunity, money, time, a dream, a person you loved. And in those moments, mental strength is tested in a completely different way. The question becomes, can you accept what you cannot control without allowing it to destroy you? That is where our next chapter begins. Because becoming mentally unbreakable doesn't mean controlling everything. It means learning how to remain standing when life refuses to go according to your plan. Keep watching. The next chapter is where resilience truly begins. Chapter 5. Accept what you cannot control. One of the greatest sources of suffering is trying to control something that was never yours to control. You cannot control what people think about you. You cannot control whether someone chooses you. You cannot control the past. You cannot control every outcome. You cannot control how quickly success comes. You cannot control every problem that enters your life. And the more desperately you try to control these things, the more exhausted you become. But there is a powerful question that can change everything. Is this within my control? If the answer is yes, take responsibility. If the answer is no, release it. That doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop wasting your mental energy fighting reality. Imagine a man standing on a beach during a storm. He looks at the ocean and becomes angry. He shouts at the waves. He demands that the wind stop. He complains that the clouds are ruining his day. But the ocean doesn't care. The wind doesn't care. The storm doesn't care. His anger changes nothing. Now imagine another person standing nearby. They see the same storm. But instead of fighting it, they move to shelter. They protect themselves. They wait. And when the storm passes, they continue their journey. The storm was outside their control. Their response was not. That is the difference between helplessness and resilience. Life will bring storms. Your job isn't to control the weather. Your job is to learn how to stand in the storm. Think about rejection. You apply for an opportunity. You prepare. You give everything you have. And someone says no. You cannot force them to say yes. You can beg. You can become angry. You can spend days replaying the decision. But none of that changes the answer. What can you control? Your preparation. Your attitude. Your next application. Your skills. Your persistence. Your response. So instead of asking, why didn't they choose me? Ask, What can I improve before the next opportunity? That question gives you your power back. Now think about criticism. Someone doesn't like you. They misunderstand you. They speak badly about you. You cannot control their mouth. You cannot control their opinion. But you can control whether their words become your identity. Sometimes the strongest response is no response. Not because you're weak. Because you understand that not every battle deserves your energy. There are people who will misunderstand you no matter how clearly you explain yourself. There are people who will criticize you even when you're doing the right thing. There are people who will dislike you simply because you're different. You don't have to win everyone. You don't have to convince everyone. You don't have to explain yourself to everyone. Protect your peace. But acceptance becomes even more difficult when something happens that you desperately wanted to prevent. Failure, loss, disappointment. Sometimes you do everything right and still lose. That can be one of life's hardest lessons. You work hard. You prepare. You believe. And still, it doesn't happen. In those moments, you have two choices. You can spend your life arguing with reality. Or you can accept reality and ask, "What now?" That question is powerful. What now? I failed. What now? They rejected me. What now? The plan didn't work. What now? I lost money. What now? I have to start again. What now? This chapter ended. What now? The answer moves your mind forward. And sometimes moving forward doesn't mean moving quickly. Sometimes moving forward means simply getting out of bed, taking a shower, eating, praying, studying, working, calling someone you trust, taking one step. One step is still movement. You don't have to rebuild your entire life in one day. You just have to refuse to surrender your entire future to one painful moment. Remember that. One bad chapter is not the whole book. There is another lesson here. Acceptance is not weakness. Acceptance is not saying, "I don't care." Acceptance is saying, "I acknowledge reality, and now I will decide how to respond." That is maturity. That is strength. That is freedom. Imagine someone loses a job. They could spend 6 months saying, "This shouldn't have happened." Or they could say, "I didn't want this, but it happened. Now what can I build from here?" The second person isn't pretending the loss doesn't hurt. They are simply refusing to let pain become permanent paralysis. That is resilience. And resilience is one of the most powerful qualities you can develop. Because life will test you. You will have unexpected bills, unexpected failures, unexpected changes, unexpected goodbyes, unexpected delays. You will make plans that collapse. And sometimes you'll look at your life and think, "This isn't what I expected." Maybe it isn't. But that doesn't mean your story is over. Sometimes life closes one door because you were never supposed to spend your entire life standing in that room. Sometimes a rejection redirects you. Sometimes a failure teaches you. Sometimes a delay prepares you. Sometimes losing something forces you to discover something within yourself that you never knew existed. You don't always understand the purpose while you're inside the pain. Sometimes understanding comes later. So don't demand that every painful moment makes sense immediately. Just keep moving. Let time reveal what the moment could not. And remember this principle. Control your effort. Control your attitude. Control your choices. Control your response. Release the rest. This principle can save you years of unnecessary suffering. Because the moment you stop trying to control everything outside of you, you create more energy for what you actually can control. Your attention, your habits, your thoughts, your actions, your standards, your future. And now, I want you to repeat these words slowly. I cannot control everything, but I can control my response. I cannot control every outcome, but I can control my effort. I cannot control what people think, but I can control who I become. I cannot change yesterday, but I can influence tomorrow. I cannot prevent every storm, but I can become stronger in the storm. That is the mindset of someone becoming mentally unbreakable. Not someone who expects life to be easy, but someone who knows, whatever happens, I will find a way forward. And that's a powerful belief. Because once you truly believe you can find a way forward, fear begins losing its power. But there is still one enemy that can keep you trapped even when you know what to do. It's the fear of failure, the fear of embarrassment, the fear of looking foolish, the fear of trying and discovering that you're not as capable as you hoped. And that fear has stopped millions of people from becoming who they could have been. In the next chapter, we're going to confront it directly. You are going to learn why failure should not be something you run from, but something you learn to use. Because the person who is no longer terrified of failure becomes incredibly difficult to stop. Keep going. We're only getting started. Chapter 6. Stop being afraid of failure. What if the thing you are most afraid of is actually the thing that could make you stronger? What if failure isn't the opposite of success? What if failure is part of the process that creates it? Many people don't fail because they aren't capable. They fail because they are too afraid to try. They are afraid of looking stupid, afraid of being rejected, afraid of losing money, afraid of making mistakes, afraid of what people will say, afraid of starting and discovering that they aren't as talented as they imagined. So they stay comfortable. They think about the dream. They talk about the dream. They plan the dream. They watch other people pursue the dream. But they never take the first step. And years later, they aren't haunted by failure. They're haunted by a question. What would have happened if I had tried? Don't let that become your story. Imagine a young boy learning to ride a bicycle. The first time he gets on, he falls. He gets a small injury. He becomes embarrassed. Imagine if he said, "Bicycles aren't for me." He would never learn. But children usually do something adults often forget. They fall. And try again. They fall again. And try again. Eventually, balance becomes natural. Nobody calls the child a failure because he fell while learning. So why do you call yourself a failure when you fall while learning something new? Think about that. You are allowed to be a beginner. You are allowed to make mistakes. You are allowed to be inexperienced. You are allowed to get something wrong. You are allowed to start small. You are allowed to try again. Failure becomes dangerous only when you turn it into an identity. I failed. That's information. I'm a failure. That's surrender. Never confuse the two. Let's imagine another story. A man named David wanted to start creating content online. He spent weeks planning his first video. He wrote the script. He edited it. He created the thumbnail. He finally uploaded it. He waited. The views came slowly. Very slowly. He felt disappointed. Then someone criticized the video. David immediately thought, maybe I'm not good at this. He considered quitting. But instead of quitting, he studied the result. He asked, what could I improve? Was the title strong enough? Was the thumbnail clear? Was the opening powerful? Did the video keep attention? Did I explain the idea well? He made another video. Then another. Then another. The first videos weren't perfect. But every failure gave him information. And eventually, something changed. His videos improved. His confidence improved. His skills improved. Not because he avoided failure, but because he used failure as feedback. That's what mentally strong people do. They don't ask, how can I avoid ever failing? They ask, how can I make failure useful? That question changes everything. Because failure can teach you what success cannot. Failure reveals weaknesses. Failure exposes bad strategies. Failure forces you to adapt. Failure teaches patience. Failure teaches humility. Failure teaches you to stop depending on perfect circumstances. And sometimes failure introduces you to a stronger version of yourself. Think about the moments in your own life when something didn't work. Maybe you failed an exam. Maybe a relationship ended. Maybe you lost an opportunity. Maybe you started something and abandoned it. Maybe you trusted someone and were disappointed. Maybe you made a financial mistake. Maybe you embarrassed yourself. Maybe you didn't become the person you promised yourself you would become. Those moments hurt. But ask yourself, what did they teach me? Maybe they taught you to be more careful. Maybe they taught you discipline. Maybe they taught you patience. Maybe they taught you that you need better boundaries. Maybe they taught you that you can't build your life around other people's approval. Maybe they taught you what you actually want. Maybe they taught you that you are capable of surviving disappointment. That last lesson is enormous. Because once you've survived failure, you become less afraid of it. You begin thinking, I've been here before. It hurt. But I survived. And that knowledge creates courage. So don't build a life around avoiding failure. Build a life where failure doesn't have the power to destroy you. Take calculated risks. Start the project. Apply for the opportunity. Learn the skill. Publish the work. Ask the question. Have the conversation. Try again. And if it doesn't work, learn. Adjust. Return. That is how you become dangerous to your limitations. But there is something else you must understand. Failure isn't always a sign that you should continue doing exactly the same thing. Sometimes failure is telling you to change your strategy. Persistence doesn't mean repeating the same mistake forever. Persistence means refusing to abandon the goal while remaining willing to change the method. If one door doesn't open, try another. If one strategy fails, study another. If one approach doesn't work, adapt. That's intelligence combined with resilience. You don't need to be stubborn. You need to be persistent and adaptable. Now imagine what your life could look like if you stopped fearing embarrassment. Imagine waking up and thinking, I'm willing to be a beginner. Imagine trying something new without needing to be immediately excellent. Imagine posting your first video, starting your first business, learning your first skill, walking into the gym for the first time, opening the book you've been avoiding, speaking in front of people, applying for the job, asking for the opportunity. You might fail, but you might also discover something incredible. You might succeed, and you'll never know unless you try. So today, I want you to change your relationship with failure. Don't worship it. Don't chase failure. But don't fear it either. Respect it. Learn from it. Use it. Let it sharpen you. Let it teach you. Let it humble you. Let it make you more prepared. And when you fall, remember these words. Fall forward. Don't fall backward into excuses. Don't fall backward into self-hatred. Don't fall backward into quitting. Fall forward. Learn something. Adjust something. Build something. Try again. Because the strongest people aren't those who never fall. They're the people who refuse to stay down. So say this to yourself. I am not afraid to fail. I am afraid of never trying. I can learn from mistakes. I can recover from setbacks. I can start again. I can improve. I can adapt. I can keep moving. Failure does not define me. Failure can develop me. And remember, the world may judge your first attempt. That's okay. Your first attempt was never supposed to be your final form. You are learning. You are building. You are becoming. But now we have reached another powerful challenge. Because sometimes the biggest reason people fear failure isn't failure itself. It's what other people will think. They fear being laughed at. They fear criticism. They fear being misunderstood. They fear losing approval. And that fear can quietly control an entire life. In the next chapter, we're going to break that chain. You're going to learn how to stop living for other people's approval and start living according to your own values. Because the moment you stop needing everyone to approve of you, you become free. Chapter 7. Stop living for other people's approval. Imagine waking up every morning with one question in your mind. What will people think of me? What will they say if I fail? What will they say if I change? What will they say if I start something new? What will they say if I succeed? What will they say if I say no? What will they say if I stop pleasing them? If you live this way long enough, something dangerous happens. You stop building your life and start building a life that other people will approve of. You choose the career they respect. You hide your dreams because someone might laugh. You stay in situations that make you unhappy because you're afraid of judgment. You say yes when you want to say no. You remain silent when you should speak. You become a different version of yourself depending on who is watching. And eventually you may have everyone's approval, but lose yourself. That is not freedom. Mental strength requires the courage to be yourself even when everyone doesn't understand you. Let's imagine a young woman named Maria. Maria wanted to start a small business. She had an idea she believed in. But every time she mentioned it, someone had an opinion. One person said it wouldn't work. Another said she should get a real job. Someone laughed. Another person told her that other people were already doing something similar. Maria became afraid. Not because she had stopped believing in her idea, but because she became obsessed with what everyone else thought. She eventually realized something. If she allowed every opinion to determine her decisions, she would never make a decision of her own. So she changed her approach. She stopped asking, "Does everyone approve of this?" and started asking, "Does this align with the person I want to become?" That question changed her life. Because you don't need everyone's permission to pursue a meaningful life. You need clarity. You need values. You need courage. You need the ability to accept that some people won't understand your choices. And that's okay. Think about how many people never begin because they're afraid of being judged. They want to start a YouTube channel, but they're afraid their friends will laugh. They want to start exercising, but they're afraid someone will notice them struggling. They want to learn a new skill, but they're afraid of being a beginner. They want to leave a toxic environment, but they're afraid people will talk. They want to pursue a different career, but they're afraid their family won't understand. So they remain stuck. Not because they lack ability, but because they have given other people's opinions too much authority. You need to understand something. People will talk whether you succeed or fail. If you fail, some people will laugh. If you succeed, some people will criticize you. If you change, some people will say you've changed. If you remain the same, some people will say you lack ambition. If you speak, someone may criticize your words. If you remain silent, someone may criticize your silence. You cannot build your life around avoiding every opinion. It's impossible. So stop trying. Instead, build your life around your values. Ask yourself, what matters to me? What kind of person do I want to become? What principles do I want to live by? What goals are worth pursuing? What sacrifices am I willing to make? What kind of life would make me proud even if nobody applauded? Those questions matter more than, what will people say? Now, this doesn't mean you should ignore all advice. That's another mistake. Mental strength isn't refusing to listen. It's knowing whose advice deserves your attention. If someone has experience, wisdom, and genuinely cares about your growth, listen. If someone consistently encourages you to become better, listen. If someone has achieved what you're trying to achieve, study them. But if someone has never tried what you're trying to do, and their only contribution is telling you that you can't, you don't have to make their opinion your reality. Not every opinion deserves equal weight. Let that sink in. Everyone has an opinion. Not everyone has wisdom. There is a difference. Imagine you're climbing a mountain. You're halfway up. Someone standing at the bottom shouts, "You can't make it!" Do you stop climbing? Why would you? They're not on the mountain with you. They don't know what you can see. They don't know how much strength you have left. They don't know how badly you want the summit. So keep climbing. Your journey doesn't require everyone to understand it. Sometimes you have to walk a road alone before people understand why you chose it. And here's another powerful truth. You will never become mentally unbreakable while your self-worth depends entirely on external validation. If someone praises you, you feel valuable. If someone criticizes you, you feel worthless. If someone likes you, you're happy. If someone rejects you, you question yourself. That is emotional dependence. You have given someone else the remote control to your confidence. Take it back. Learn to say, I know who I am. I know what I'm working toward. I know what I value. I know I'm still growing. You don't need to prove your worth every day. You need to live it. And sometimes that means disappointing people. Sometimes saying no will disappoint someone. Sometimes setting boundaries will make someone angry. Sometimes pursuing your goals will make people question you. Sometimes choosing yourself will be called selfish. But remember, a boundary is not cruelty. Saying no is not hatred. Having ambition is not arrogance. Protecting your peace is not weakness. You are allowed to have standards. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to grow. You are allowed to outgrow environments that no longer fit the person you're becoming. And you are allowed to walk away from unnecessary approval. Now imagine the strongest version of yourself. Imagine someone who walks into a room without needing everyone to like them. Someone who can hear criticism without collapsing. Someone who can receive praise without becoming addicted to it. Someone who can stand alone without feeling worthless. Someone who can say, I respect you, but I don't need your approval to know my value. That is strength. And it doesn't happen overnight. You build it through small acts of courage. Say no when you mean no. Speak honestly. Do the work quietly. Stop announcing every plan. Stop explaining yourself to everyone. Let your results speak. Let your character speak. Let your consistency speak. And remember, you don't have to convince everyone. Sometimes your job is simply to continue. People may laugh at the beginning. They may doubt you in the middle. And one day, they may ask how you did it. But by then, you'll realize something important. You were never doing it for their approval. You were doing it because you believed your life could become better. So from today forward, replace this question. What will they think? With, what is right for the person I'm becoming? Replace, will they approve? With, does this align with my values? Replace, what if they laugh? With, what if I never try? And replace, what if they reject me? With, what if I finally choose myself? You don't need everyone to believe in you. But you do need to stop being the person who abandons yourself every time someone else disagrees. Stand by yourself. Believe in your ability to learn. Believe in your ability to grow. Believe in your ability to recover. And most importantly, don't betray your future just to make your present comfortable for other people. Because the next level of mental strength is learning how to stand alone when necessary. There will be moments when nobody understands you. Moments when nobody encourages you. Moments when the crowd walks in the opposite direction. And in those moments, you will discover whether your strength comes from within or from the applause around you. In the next chapter, we're going to enter that uncomfortable territory. How to stand alone without becoming lonely. Because sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk alone for a while. Until you become strong enough to choose your people instead of desperately needing them. Keep watching. Your mind is getting stronger with every chapter. Chapter 8. Learn to stand alone. There will come a moment in your life when you realize something uncomfortable. Not everyone will come with you. Some people will leave. Some friendships will change. Some relationships will end. Some people will stop believing in you. Some people will misunderstand your growth. And sometimes, you will have to walk alone. For many people, loneliness feels like failure. They desperately hold on to relationships that are hurting them because being alone scares them more than being unhappy. They stay around people who constantly discourage them because silence feels uncomfortable. They keep seeking approval because they haven't learned how to enjoy their own company. But mental strength requires a different understanding. Being alone is not the same as being abandoned. Sometimes being alone is where you finally hear yourself clearly. Think about a seed. Before it becomes a tree, it spends time underground. Nobody sees the growth. Nobody applauds it. Nobody stands beside it saying, "Keep going." It grows in silence. And sometimes your life will have seasons like that. A season where you're not surrounded by people. A season where you're working quietly. A season where you're rebuilding. A season where you're discovering who you really are. Don't automatically assume that silence means you're losing. Sometimes silence means you're growing. Imagine a young man named Daniel. For years, Daniel surrounded himself with people who loved entertainment but hated discipline. Every weekend was about wasting time. Every conversation was about gossip. Every plan was postponed. Whenever Daniel talked about his goals, his friends laughed. "Relax. You're taking life too seriously. You think you're going to become successful?" At first, Daniel laughed with them. But deep down, he knew something had changed. He wanted more. He wanted discipline. He wanted to learn. He wanted to build something meaningful. So he started spending less time with them. It was difficult. The first few weeks felt lonely. He questioned himself. Am I making a mistake? But then something happened. The silence gave him space. He started reading. He started working. He started exercising. He started thinking. He started discovering who he was without the constant influence of other people. And eventually, he became a different person. Not because he hated his old friends, but because he finally understood. You cannot become your strongest self while constantly protecting the habits that keep you weak. Your environment matters. The people you spend time with influence what feels normal. If everyone around you complains, complaining feels normal. If everyone around you wastes time, wasting time feels normal. If everyone around you gives up, giving up feels normal. But if you surround yourself with disciplined people, discipline becomes normal. If you surround yourself with learners, growth becomes normal. If you surround yourself with people who challenge you, excellence becomes normal. This doesn't mean you need hundreds of friends. You don't. Sometimes you need only a few people who genuinely want to see you grow. Quality matters more than quantity. And until you find those people, learn to stand alone. Learn to sit quietly. Learn to think. Learn to work without applause. Learn to enjoy your own company. Learn to make decisions without asking 10 people what they think. Learn to trust yourself. Because if you cannot stand alone, you may accept almost anyone just to avoid feeling lonely. And that can be dangerous. You may tolerate disrespect. You may accept manipulation. You may remain in unhealthy situations. You may lower your standards. You may abandon your goals. All because you are afraid of being alone. Don't do that. Loneliness is temporary. But losing yourself just to keep someone around can cost you years. There is a difference between isolation and solitude. Isolation is when you disconnect because you are afraid of people. Solitude is when you intentionally create space to reconnect with yourself. Learn solitude. Take a walk without your phone. Sit quietly. Journal. Think about your goals. Read. Pray. Reflect. Ask yourself difficult questions. Who am I becoming? What do I actually want? What habits are destroying my potential? Who am I trying to impress? What am I afraid to admit? What needs to change? These questions can be uncomfortable, but discomfort can reveal truth. And truth gives you direction. Sometimes you need to step away from the noise long enough to hear your own thoughts. Because the world is constantly telling you who to be. Social media tells you what success looks like. Friends tell you what you should do. Family may tell you what career to choose. Society tells you what you should own. People tell you how you should look. But eventually you have to ask, what do I believe? That is maturity. You don't have to reject everyone else's opinions. But you need to develop your own mind. A mentally unbreakable person can listen without being controlled. They can love people without becoming dependent on them. They can be alone without becoming desperate. They can belong to a group without losing their identity. That's powerful. Now imagine you're standing at the beginning of a difficult road. There is nobody beside you. No applause. No guarantee. No certainty. Only the road. And you hear a voice saying, "Turn back." But another voice says, "Keep going." Which voice will you choose? Choose the second. Not because you know exactly where the road ends, but because you know where turning back will lead. Back to the same habits, the same excuses, the same environment, the same version of yourself. Sometimes the unknown is frightening, but staying the same can be even more dangerous. So if you need to walk alone for a season, walk. If you need to rebuild quietly, rebuild. If you need to distance yourself from distractions, do it. If you need to protect your goals from negative voices, protect them. And don't feel guilty for growing. You are not required to remain the same person simply because someone liked the old version of you. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to become more disciplined. You are allowed to become more focused. You are allowed to become more ambitious. You are allowed to become stronger. And when you become stronger, you may discover something beautiful. You no longer choose people because you're afraid of being alone. You choose people because they add value to your life. You no longer chase approval. You appreciate genuine connection. You no longer need everyone. You value the right people. That is freedom. But standing alone doesn't mean you never need help. Strong people ask for help when necessary. Strong people admit when they don't know something. Strong people seek guidance. Strong people accept support. Mental strength is not pretending you can do everything alone. It's knowing when to stand alone. And knowing when to reach out. So remember, you can love people without losing yourself. You can need people without becoming dependent on their approval. You can walk alone without believing you're forgotten. And sometimes, the season of walking alone is preparing you for the season when the right people finally arrive. Keep building. Keep growing. Keep becoming. Because eventually, you will look back and realize the season you thought was loneliness was actually training. And now comes another challenge. Because even if you learn to stand alone, life will still test your patience. You will work hard and wait. You will plant seeds and wait. You will make progress and still want more. You will watch other people succeed before you. And that can create frustration. It can make you feel like you're falling behind. It can make you want to rush. But the next chapter will teach you one of the rarest forms of mental strength: patience. The ability to keep going without demanding immediate results. Because sometimes the strongest thing you can do is continue working while nothing seems to be happening. Keep watching.